Wait. What do you wear like this? What do you wear? It's a hijab. You can't wear. We're just heading to the cafe. No. You may go. Seriously? But you need to say it. You can't wear like this here. Why? Why not? No, you can't. So, I need to give you this. The fine? Really? Yeah.
Initiating Zoom meeting.
Guys, has anyone ever heard of that news of that Burqa girl that got her scarf pulled in public? It was trending on the news.
OMG, I heard about it. That's horrible.
If I'm not mistaken, it's about the banning of burqa there, right? Pity that poor girl.
This burqa issue is related to freedom of religion, right guys?
Yes, that's true.
But did all of you know that freedom of religion is a principle that supports the freedom of an individual or community in public or private to manifest religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance?
Oh, I have heard of this issue, but I'm not clear about it.
I wonder what the banning of the burqa actually is.
Oh, what on earth?
Senator Hanson.
I'm quite happy to remove this because this is not what should belong in this parliament.
What did you know about the banning of burqa? As we know, burqa is the type of clothing that used to protect the dignity and politeness, especially to Islamic society. The real questions here, will it affect human fundamental rights, especially rights to freedom of religion?
Some countries around the world have banned the wearing of a burqa, especially Austria, Denmark, France, and Belgium. In 2004, France is the first country that bans the wearing of the burqa or veil, and it was introduced by the French National Assembly. It is first being affected in 2004 in the school which the veiled parent could not attend their children's school as in the French state schools. France had forbidden the wearing of headscarves and practiced the religious symbols, for instance like wear turbans, niqab, school capes, crucifix, and so on that belong to the banned products. This legislation had been under consideration for more than 2 decades before it was enacted. This legislation has been considered as the banning of burqa because the main factor was the view of France that the headscarves that Muslims wear were a symbol of the oppression of women, which in turn is thought of as the incarnation of secularism, an idea that is highly regarded in France because of its vital association with the French Revolution. Hence, in 2011, France had imposed a law that bans full-face veils in a public area, that wearing something that covers the face is illegal. The next reason is that the wearing of the burqa in European countries was banned in these countries as a security measure. They see that wearing a burqa is a powerful symbolic trait associated with terrorism. So, the burqa that wears by a Muslim woman is viewed by some people as a symbol of Islamic extremism. Terrorism is on the rise, with more female suicide bombers being reported. On the other hand, in order to reduce the number of female suicide bombers, the burqa must be banned in some countries and should not be worn as a religious symbol.
The effects of the burqa ban are classified into 3. Firstly, against the individual. The burqa has become a symbol of Islamist radicalism and even terrorism and is increasingly being seen as a threat to efforts to integrate Muslim migrants into society. Secondly, against the society. The negative outcomes of the ban seem to have operated through increased perceptions of discrimination and by casting religion and national identity as incompatible. And lastly, against the nation. The headscarf ban also hindered economic and social integrating in the long term, reducing Muslim women's labor force participation and their independence.
It's supposed to be, they say that it is democratic and there is freedom of expression. So why don't they let people wear?
Violation of the human rights, and I don't think anyone should decide what people should wear.
I feel very disappointed. I feel like I thought we lived in a free society where people can believe what they want and they can wear whatever they want as long as they don't hurt other people.
The underlying question is, what are the suggestions to simultaneously implement freedom of religion and demolish religion discrimination? The government should strengthen enforcement of freedom of religion by executing its constitution or any incorporated provision from international law. Almost every government of a country has been preserving its people's fundamental basic rights under their governance within a constitution. How will this be implemented? The government should ensure that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, which includes freedom to manifest his religion or belief in worship, teaching practice, and observance. Did you know, in the United Kingdom, the Human Rights Act 1998, which incorporates the European Convention on Human Rights into domestic law, guarantees the protection of individual rights, including freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, and the freedom to hold or adopt a religion or belief of one's choice. An example that should be followed can be seen in Article 8 Clause 2 of the Malaysia's Federal Constitution, which enumerates that discrimination on various grounds, including religion, are prohibited by the government. Ever heard of the case law of SAS against France in 2014? In contradiction to the point, the French government claimed that the effect of concealing one's face in public places is to break the social tie and to manifest a refusal of the principle of living together. This shows how the reasoning of the court in terms of the justification for the ban was poor and created the undesirable position that the dual states wishing to impose blanket bans based on vague policy aims in line with majority views, rather than protection of individual rights, has been left open. According to our conducted Freedom of Religion survey through Google Form, 93.8% of 160 respondents agreed that the ban on face coverings in public should not be implemented in their home country. Therefore, in contrast to the French government, every government should implement freedom of religion in accordance to its constitution or any incorporated international law in order to affirm the fundamental right that every person has the right to profess and to practice his or her religion. Another solution that can be taken by the government is to enlighten the public regarding the beauty of every religion, including Islam. Based on the 2010 Quebec Women's Political Participation Survey, 45% of the participants strongly disagreed with the statement that women wear the niqab by choice. When I encounter women who wear the niqab, it makes me feel uneasy. Unfortunately, this shows that non-Muslim believes that the wearing of the niqab might be a sign of oppression. In the Quran, Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 59, O Prophet, tell thy wives and daughters, and the believing women that they should cast their outer garments over their persons, that it is most convenient that they should be known as such and not molested. Isn't it apparent? The whole purpose of niqab is to protect women from fitna or defamation. After all, a woman dressed modestly is a pearl in its shell. The government needs to enlighten and educate the public by making them accept and respect that women who wear the niqab are doing so by their own free will. The niqab should be perceived as a sign of the fracturing of the Muslim community which God has not ordained on us.
To conclude, the banning of burqa should be lifted because everyone has their right to practice their religion. As we can see from this picture, attack on niqab means attack on Islam. Even though wearing a burqa is not a compulsory thing to do in Islam, but it is a part of practicing religion as a Muslim.